So funny enough, I already filmed this and my mic wasn't on and my sound sucked. And I was like, there is no way that's why you see me in my bleached shirt. And I'm just gonna get it out over again because I'd rather have a bleached shirt on than bad audio. So hi, welcome back. My name is Tabitha. I am a Starseed channel. I am a human channel. And I am from the Starlight Haven, and that is what my channel is. That is what my page is. And so if you found yourself here, welcome. I am going to be talking about Los Angeles. I'm talking about the United States, but not maybe in the context in which you would think. So buckle up. We've got some stuff to cover, and I will get it out as quickly as I can because I know it's never quick. Okay, so basically what I've been tapping into is that this whole charade is more or less about our colonial wealth infrastructure that we have today, which we might not think we do, but we are definitely living under a colonial wealth infrastructure. But we are moving to a regenerative wealth infrastructure, which is why I think there's such a race to get us into their next phase of basically, I will call it slavery because I do see it as such. There's a race to get us to consent because data, AI, all this stuff, this has already been happening, guys. Okay, if you know about grid working, if you know about all of this stuff, we know that this has already been happening. We've been tuned into AI. We've been tuned into artificial intelligence. A lot of the stuff that happens on the planet is inorganic. I consider this AI. We've had our data collected in more ways than one. I think it's just something that they're now letting us see so that we can consent to it and we can get into our next phase that they want us in. But I'm here to send a message that I don't think that that's going to happen. I think that we will shift into a regenerative wealth system, but I also think that a lot of immigrants hold this in their genetic makeup. I think that a lot of us who have indigenous ancestors have that coded into our DNA. And not only that, our land, the United States of America, which it is now, has it coded into the land. And I think that I'm going to go into Delaware because that is the land that has been speaking to me the most about what is happening. But before I do that, I'm going to go into Goddess Pele. And if you know that nature speaks to us through her cycles, her movements, through her eruptions. The volcano Kīlauea is one of them. I see her as the goddess Pele. She is the goddess of creation. She's the goddess of destruction. And she is here to send us a message about liberating ourselves, about creation energy of dreaming a bigger dream than what we have been told we have to abide by. Because I am here to tell you, rewrite your story as a human being. You have the right to claim yourself, your being, as worthy of rewriting these narratives that you have been fed from the moment you entered into this school system, onto the planet, through our family systems, because there are layers, right? And so we are here. 2025 is all about rewriting our story. And so, yeah, let's get into Pele and see what she has to say. I have my notes pulled up here, and I'm going to start with what the goddess Pele transmitted to me in meditation. And she is saying that she is deeply reflecting the healing of humanity. She was deeply reflecting my own healing. So us as people and us as a collective, she's reflecting our deep sacred rage. And she was showing me that what was happening on the planet was going to look like a rupture, but it was more of an eruption, right? Of centuries of enslavement, of being hunted. And these include our systems of oppression and our connection to the Black Lilith moon, which is our shadow. It's like the shadowy aspects of us. And so the shadows of creation are quickly creeping up on humanity, but that humanity is ready to face it themselves. And she showed me the sickle and the harvest, and the cycle of, at one point, never navigating with the heart, right? And hunting others to try and stop them from being able to do so, getting into this cycle of victim, victimizer. I'm after you. You're hunted. You can't be in a state of bliss, of joy, because you are always anticipating the next hit. And so she also showed me the compassion that she has for this happening, and that she holds that in her bedrock. And so she showed me that we were taking back that sickle, though, and that we were harvesting the grain and we were bringing back prosperity to the world, right? This administration ran on making America great again, but we get to rewrite what greatness is, because what we are seeing is not so great right now. And so prosperity, bringing wealth back to America, isn't what we've been told it is, right? It's not about making America rich again necessarily. It's about bringing back these regenerative wealth infrastructures that originally were present on this planet. It's bringing them back. It's reawakening them within our template and our grid. And we're all here to help do that. Okay, so grain represents abundance and the ways we are fed but not starved, right? We are not starved. We are fed by God and Goddess when we remember how loved we are and that we are the God and Goddess incarnated, right? And we've been fooled and taught that God is outside of ourselves and that we need to be saved. And that is what this administration ran on, that we needed a savior. But I'm here to tell you that only we can save ourselves, right? And so what I want you to do to kind of start that process is claim your name, right? Like, I've had a friend who might watch this, but she told me a long time ago during a session, claim your name, what it is, and, say it. And then it brought me into this process of, okay, now I get to praise myself, and which had been taught as blasphemy before, right? Praise yourself. Your presence is sacred. See yourself as worthy, and you cannot be enslaved if you know that. If you know that to be true, because slavery is still present to this day, it is just hidden. So that brings me into Delaware, since we're talking about slavery. So what is happening on the planet with immigration is a planetary healing of energy that's actually coming through from Delaware. And Delaware was dubbed the first state due to its ratifying of the Constitution. The words that were coming in for this were dotted line, which represents contracts, like we signed. And those contracts were forged in that moment, either voluntarily or involuntarily. And these sent us into agreements to take on stories that weren't ours. And we essentially became a drafted version of ourselves. And now in the present day, we get to revise these drafts. That's what I mean by, like, 2025 is all about reclaiming the story. And we are going to scrap these all together because they obviously clearly are not in support of us as a humanity. When we take away, when we look at each other as one, we know that these stories are not in support of humanity. And the lines and the veils are getting very blurred. We're starting to see that there really aren't sides, right? That we were given the illusion of choice. Okay, so money is part of the story because the US dollar legally became national currency after Delaware became the first state. Their dollar notes were constructed of slave harvested cotton, which is still important to this day because we still use this blend. It is a ritual when we have money, when we spend our money, it is being funneled into a slave system that is still in place from this harvested cotton, and we will bypass this. We'll be like, oh, what something is made of doesn't matter. Actually, it matters a lot because it contains the energy of that enslavement. It was an energetic way to hold the slave economy in place, where wealth is funneled to certain people. And if you pay close attention, we are kind of, I feel like we're being rushed to be moved into a new form of this just through our data and through not having the monetary system like this anymore, not the dollar note, but having our data, the Bitcoin stuff, like all of this AI. I feel like this is a race to get us into a consent of now this instead of what they had before, right? It's like that story, that narrative of history repeats itself. We have to rewrite that. There's a reason we're told that all the time. History repeats itself. History repeats itself because it's ingrained in our brain, and our unconscious behavior gives it. It's like we give it permission to be as such. And so now it's like today we have to be like, no, history will not repeat itself. I will not give away my power in this way. I will not be enslaved, right? Because it's layers of slavery that we are still living today. And so these stories coming from Delaware also contain the conditioning of stolen land, which is being played out in front of us as what was once colonization, right? What is now a false narrative, another story of immigrants now supposedly stealing the land away from Americans. And that is simply not true. And if we look at this, the absurdity of even this statement, we've been so conditioned that we can't even, it's hard to even grasp this idea that we can't own the earth. Wow. So I feel like this is the same energy, and I don't mean in the sense that immigrants are stealing the land and colonization is, no, I don't mean it in that way, but what I mean it in the sense is like it's the same colonization energy coming back into accusing someone of not belonging here. It's the same energy just being replicated today. And the people that stole the land are having it stolen from them, and now they have an excuse to steal it back. It's all a story, you guys. Okay, so it's a narrative they want to keep perpetuating to us, so we feel homeless and starved on the planet. But really ask yourself, can you truly own the earth at any capacity? It cannot be owned, right? We are claiming our right to be here. You cannot tell us that we cannot be here. We used storytelling around drugs and human trafficking to justify taking innocent people out of the country and giving people something to fear, right? Another side, more sides to choose. But I have one question for you to kind of show you how the sides have blurred, right? If we have children that are in the foster system that we are deeming as illegal, and we are deporting children, please tell me, where are they going? Like, do we know where they're going at all? We have no idea. We were given an illusion of sides. That one was going to save us, that one was going to be great, and the other one wasn't. And that, this side's evil and the other side, like, they're all the same thing. It's so you don't look at yourself. It's a distraction. Like, we have to start looking at ourselves in relation to other human beings and become a community, not a bunch of slaves to a bunch of stories that other people told us. Like, it's inhumane and it's unfair, and we get to shift that story. So I think that, if they created sides for you to choose so you wouldn't see past the illusion, great. But what if there is another choice? And so that's what I'm here to kind of prompt everyone to kind of feel into. What if there is another choice? And I think that we're kind of getting there, right? We're seeing a lot of things. Okay, so yeah, that kind of brings me into the Colonial Wealth Infrastructure. And so, believe it or not, hair of the dog that bit you, that's what it kind of feels like. But prosperity is actually being unleashed through the dollar. And so we are told these money stories, that money makes people greedy. money is evil. It's the root of evil. So what do we want to do? We don't want to be evil. So we push money away. And so money keeps getting funneled into that same system. And so it comes away from us. And so that is always the goal with these stories, is to funnel the money away from us. So whether the story is like paper holds no value, which now we know because, it was constructed of like something like 75% cotton that was harvested from slaves and is still made of cotton. Right? Like whether the story holds no value, or like that they say that the paper holds no value, we know that is not true. And they're like, buy gold and silver, that's what's valuable. But at the end of the day, like that dollar does hold weight. Yeah, so you can imagine like if it came from that place, I mean, even if I'm rambling, like flip it over, pyramid, all seeing eye. That's weird, right? We can at least agree that that's strange. There are spells tied to the exchange of our dollar bill. I will just say that. And so these are spells of starvation that perpetuate homelessness, of feeling homeless, of feeling like a something, like an object, rather than a someone as a free person, of a sovereign being. And so these stories right now are clearing with the help of humanity. And so we're at this weird merger point. Like I've been noticing within spiritual communities that there has been a weird I don't even know what to call it, but I don't know if everybody else is feeling it too. Like if you're part of a spiritual community, if you look at just different spiritual leaders, there's some crazy stuff coming up for clearing, and this is part of it. And it's not because it's like one thing's wrong or, these communities are wrong or bad. It's just that we all have to see these sides, right? And so now we're going to be moving into regenerative wealth, which is what I think they're trying to like slow us down into walking very gracefully into, is the regenerative wealth infrastructure. Like, doesn't that just sound beautiful? Regenerative, like it never ends, like it keeps building and growing. And so this is a wealth infrastructure that is going to value people over corporations. It sees wealth in people and communities, in our earth, in the food we grow, in the abundance of just our being here. Like we are wealthy because, we have value. It works toward a model, it works toward a model where money isn't about scarcity, but about abundance, because it is a reflection of our value as human beings. So right now with the slavery construct and story, we are not seen or treated as being of value. And this is a story that we need to start changing within ourselves. And then we can come out and we get to, and it doesn't have to just be within ourselves. We're doing this together as communities as well, right? Because we get to be witness to each other, right? Because we're not in this journey alone. Like that was like the big emphasis, is like, we are all human. We are all together. Like we, especially in America, we have this such individualistic view of society, but we all crave community. So it almost like it kills our spirit and our soul to be living this way. And so we get the opportunity to step into this, to lean into it. Yeah, so the funnel is changing, right? And there's a race to move us into that new slavery contract that would replace essentially the one that we had, or it, I guess, like change faces. I don't even think it would really replace that one, because I feel like that contract is up. And so now it's like trying to be new into like AI, Bitcoin, our data, and it's already happening. So we just haven't seen it yet. And so it, like I said before, it's about gaining consent. And right now, I mean, you could say now you don't consent. Our word is powerful. We need to see the stories and take the narratives back and rewrite them, right? And this is happening at both the collective and the individual level. Okay, let's go into these protests because there's a lot of rhetoric going around about the No Kings protests. I know a lot of you probably know what I'm talking about. I think one of them is like 51 or something like that. There's also people saying that this is a ritual, that it's going to be feeding some sort of black magic ritual spell. Okay. I want to say that I believe more than one thing can be true at a time, right? I want everybody to pay attention to the fact that people have been protesting this administration prior to June 14th. There have been protests already happening because there's already an uprising of awareness. And so I think, yeah, people are going to try and capitalize on that awareness, because, traditionally we know with ritual, and especially with like grid working and stuff like that chaos feeds certain AI grids, and we're paying attention to it and we're feeding that. But I want to change even that narrative, like that story. I want to shift it a little bit, right? Because if we do, then we take away from the fact that there is an uprising of awareness. Like, we should really be hopeful, right? Like, there should be some hope here because people are becoming aware. Whether you are spiritually awakened or not, there is awareness happening. And I don't want to take away from that because I feel like that is monumental. And so, yeah, even though people are saying that these protests are going to feed people's pockets and feed a ritual or whatever, I want you to pay attention to the people that are gathering in joy, that are dancing, that are singing, that are really reflecting the true essence of humanity, and they're gathering in love and peace. And I think that's fucking awesome. Like, regardless of all of the story and narrative, right? That alone, if you believe in transmutation, is so powerful. So, regardless of what you're thinking, what is going on with these protests, like, I am going to fully claim that I believe that there's a lot of beauty and love in this. And, we get to play together. I feel like it's doing a lot of healing for what we've been going through as a collective for the last 5 years. And even before that. But like, COVID and all of the stuff of like, not first, like, you're being told like you can't gather with your family or you're isolated, and now all of these people get to come together and dance and like have fun, and like, I'm seeing a lot of beauty too. So I just want to put that out there. Okay, we're powerful. Okay, we're more powerful than anything else. And if you don't believe that, it's because that there is still some sort of feeling that of hopelessness and feeling separation, and that's okay too. I'm just saying that's fine too. But just remember that you're being a story is being fed from all sides, and that more than one thing can be true at once. You can garner change, you can spread love, and you can rewrite your story. And that is what I will leave you guys with, in a quote from something that was coming in from a book. Okay, so there's like one quote from Siddhartha that I wanted to state, because that I wanted to read to everybody, because this book came in to be looked at and to kind of show a reflection for the inner world of what is happening right now to us as a humanity. And I think that this quote is really good for what's going on right now. But it says that there is no reality except the one contained within us. That is why so many people live such an unreal life. They take the images outside of them for reality and never allow the world within to assert itself. And so when things are happening outside of this crazy world, What are you feeling inside? Like, what is true for you? So you don't take all of these narratives and stories and let them stop you from experiencing joy and, learning more about yourself as a human being. So, yeah, that's all I've got. Sending you guys so much love and joy. Bye.